But you know what? Anybody can hit 98.
As former players, there's an expectation. Trevor Bauer, I'm a big fan of him and his
Big fan
emotions.
for him. I like Joe Kelly. This is a must-win year for the Dodgers. And Mookie Betts and Clayton Kershaw, their salary is like $28 million. This is the Up Class Sports Podcast. What's going on, guys? And welcome to the Upper Class Sports Podcast. This is Clayton Vecting. With me, as always, Nick Klunger-Setter. How you doing, Nick?
Good, Clayton. How you doing, man?
I am good.
Good to hear. Another week to talk about some baseball, man.
Another week to talk about baseball, man. I'm excited, especially about this topic because this is one that fires people up. Mm-hmm. And I am super excited to dive into some of these. We are talking today about cheating in baseball, all the different ways that you can cheat or people have cheated in the past in the game of baseball. I wanted to start out this episode, though, with this quote. This quote from Rogers Hornsby. He was the second baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals who batted over 400 3 times in his career.
Ooh.
So he says this. He goes, "I've been in pro baseball since 1914, and I've cheated or watched someone on my team cheat in practically every game. You've got to cheat."
Wow. That takes if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, and just removes all the sugarcoating. That's a
zero sugarcoating with that statement right there. And I mean, with everything that we're going to go over, it's kind of one of those things that baseball's kind of been that game that, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying type of thing. I mean, it's a game of failure. So people realize you fail. You got to try to find an advantage somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he said that he's been in the game since 1914.
1914.
2020, it's over 100 years.
Over 100 years, yep.
A lot of cheating going on.
It's a lot and there was cheating going on even before that. I mean,
guaranteed.
So what we're going to kind of dive into some different ways that people cheat in baseball. Obviously, we know, performance-enhancing drugs, steroids, corked bats, pitchers using foreign substances, and the one that we are going to start out with is sign stealing. So I know you got a lot of hot button topics, things that get you fiery about the Astros and the 2017 season and stuff. We can go ahead and start there.
Where to start with the Astros? So if you don't know about the Astros in 2017, they got caught cheating by stealing signs in real time using electronic devices and relaying the signs to their hitters. So, spoiler alert, the Astros hit a lot of home runs that year. They struck out less than any other team in baseball that year, and they won the World Series because they knew what pitches were coming. And
not hard to hit if you know what's coming. That's for sure.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, and the biggest thing is I'm a Dodger fan. I'm not a huge Dodger fan. And we all know the struggles Kershaw had up until this year of kind of struggling in the postseason. And that was another year I was like, well, there's Kershaw again. Little did we know, him and Darvish got screwed. And a lot of every other pitcher that faced the Astros got screwed. I know you're kind of a Chapman guy.
Dude, yeah, that's the one that sticks out to me is ALCS, Chapman, Altuve. And I mean, you can hear it, and you can hear the banging, and then boom, walk-off home run to send him to the World Series. I mean, Chapman's face said it all, man.
Yeah, that was just. I've never hit out 100 miles an hour. No one sits and can hit 100 miles an hour like that, because he made a good pitch. I remember it was like up and away, or it wasn't down the middle. It wasn't a meatball.
No, it was a good pitch.
He crushed it.
Yeah.
And I mean, your big moment was the Chapman moment. My big moment as an off-speed kind of pitcher when I played, Kershaw threw 51 sliders or curveballs. The Astros didn't swing and miss at any of them. They were 51 for 51 at his breaking ball.
And that's insane. I mean, that's taking pitches that are balls, fouling off strikes, or putting strikes in play. Like, that's insane. That is an insane stat.
Yeah, I mean, what other evidence do you need there to know something's going on when a guy is one of the best guys in the game, one of the best pitchers, Kershaw,
Yeah.
with one of his legendary curveballs, big loopy one, the
Yeah.
tight one, to go 51 for 51. Come on, there's no excuse.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, if this whole scandal hadn't have come out, I mean, people would have really looked at Kershaw. I mean, up until this World Series,
Mhm.
I mean, people were looking at Kershaw as just a guy who can't pitch in the playoffs. And it's like when you got a stat like that, 51 for 51 on his breaking ball, which is, I mean, that his breaking balls are disgusting, guys. It's almost unhittable. So it completely changes things, and it completely changes people's minds.
Mhm.
And I'm really glad this came out because I am a Kershaw fan. I love to watch that guy pitch, and for this to come out, it kind of makes me feel better because I was starting to be like, dude, like, what is up with this? This dude's one of the best pitchers to ever live, but he can't pitch in the playoffs. Come on.
Other one that I felt bad for, even at the time, because I'm a fan of Hugh Darvish,
Yeah.
and he got destroyed by the fans. He ended up not re-signing with the Dodgers, left because of that World
Yep.
Series,
Yeah.
and it's like there's nothing you could do. When the
Yeah.
guys are teeing off like it's batting practice because they know what's coming, there's nothing you can do. And could you imagine if he would have re-signed, how good they would be? And for your point with Kershaw, he had a postseason stolen from him.
Yeah.
Say he got hurt in 2018, never pitched again. His reputation is, oh, one of the best regular season pitchers, but he couldn't pitch in the postseason.
Couldn't pitch in the postseason.
And it's
Yeah.
because the Astros stole a whole postseason from him.
Yeah.
So I mean, we don't want to beat a dead horse and rag on the Astros. There's just two big points I want to talk about before we move on. And one is a question I have for you. And it's, what do you think of Darvish and Kershaw and them now, knowing what was going on? Because I know we kind of rag on the Dodgers saying, how can you be this good and not win? We kind of rag on Dave Roberts. How can you have this lineup and not win?
Yeah.
They didn't have a chance when the Astros knew what's coming. So does your opinion change at all of the Dodgers and their players and their moves, knowing?
Yeah. I mean, well, just talking Kershaw and Darvish. I mean, you saw those, those years or whatever in the playoffs, and you're like, oh my gosh, these guys can't pitch. And then it's like, when you think about it, okay, if you know what's coming, it's a lot easier. I'm not saying it's easy to hit major league pitching. Like, I mean, but these are major league hitters. When they know it's coming, it makes it a lot easier for them. And, yeah, I remember sitting around and talking about Kershaw and ragging on him and Darvish and ragging on those guys and being like, gosh, like, great regular season guys, like we said, but can't pitch in the postseason. And it's like that. It sucks that was even something that came out of my mouth because these dudes are studs. I mean, go look at the numbers they put up this year.
Yeah.
I mean, Darvish could have been a Cy Young Award winner. I mean, Bieber obviously deserved it, but Trevor Bauer absolutely deserved it. But Darvish, I mean, he put up Cy Young numbers this year, and yeah, he had a World Series stolen from him.
Yep.
And
the franchise. I mean, that's one thing people rag on the Dodgers as a whole is, oh, you haven't won since '83. What are you going to do? Well, 2017 probably could have been their year if they played fairly.
And they could have 2 in the last 3 years. So.
Yeah. And just the momentum that would have carried in the next one. So,
yeah.
And then the next one I have is financials. Did you know that in 2017 the Astros got the biggest playoff bonus paycheck out of any team ever for winning the World Series? They each got, I wrote it down, they got almost $500,000 for winning as a bonus.
Per player?
Yes. Each player got an extra $438,000 for winning.
What's the average? Like what did they normally get? Because I know guys get bonuses and stuff for winning, but
I didn't put that. I just had like a breakdown of what the teams got.
Mm-hmm.
So the Astros got 438 for their team for winning.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers got 259,000 for losing.
Just for
the Yankees, who the Astros beat, they got 138,000. So the Astros stole $300,000 from Yankee players.
Yeah.
Next, Altuve, right after that, got a huge contract extension worth $150 million, or 160 with 150 guaranteed.
Yep.
His previous contract was worth 12 million. But you win a World Series, you win the MVP, you bump that money up. You say, hey, I got an MVP, I got a World Series ring. I want that money.
Yeah.
Gets $100 million more than he was currently worth.
Probably $100 million more than he is actually worth.
Yeah. So that's one that kills me too, is the money they stole from these other players. And then there's another guy who's actually suing the Astros organization, Mike Solsinger, is suing them because the Astros, I don't want to say ruined his career, but his last appearance was against the Astros in 2017, and they scored 4 runs in less than an inning off of him, just teed off on him. The next day he got demoted, never played Major League Baseball again.
Yep. No, yeah, that's a crazy one, man. That is a crazy story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, imagine being that guy, and that's the thing. You just ruined somebody's career because you cheated.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, man. But you know what? Rogers Horsby said it. He goes, everybody cheats. He goes, you've got to cheat. And so the Astros found a way to cheat. Unfortunately, they got caught. But, you know, now, so here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
So there are players who have cheated. There have been teams that have cheated. What are your thoughts? Is what the Astros did worse than anybody else? What anybody else has done? Because cheating, looking at it overall, like, are we going to classify it like sign stealing is a worse way of cheating than having a corked bat or being on steroids?
That's tough, man. I would say theirs is worse because there's a legal way to steal signs. You get a guy in second base. If he can pick the catcher's signs, that's a legal way to do it.
Yeah.
Stealing signs helps the entire team. The corked bat helps the one guy using the corked bat. The PEDs helps the one guy doing the PEDs. Stealing signs helps everybody.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. So technology is growing, especially within this game, especially in baseball. Technology is just blown up with all the analytics and the StatCasts and just all these different things that they can do now with technology to analyze swings and whatnot. So what difference does it make that now they're using this technology to steal signs versus, like you said, the legal way of leading off second base, trying to pick a guy's signs, or being in the dugout trying to pick up the coach's signs or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just adapting to technology and the times of baseball. I mean,
yeah, it's hard because I mean, even recently we had, was it the Red Sox? They got banged for what Cora had an Apple Watch on.
Yep.
So it's like technology is going to always advance and make things harder.
Yeah.
I think baseball can adapt to that. Like they used replay. That's technology for like a good thing they're trying to use. But they draw a line at stealing signs in an unfair way like that. And his unfair way of boosting it. I think technology is going to be a tough thing to work around, but I think you can see when guys do things that are like, okay, that's crossing the line a little bit or a lot of bit, like the Astros. And I think it's tough because technology is always going to want to help players.
Yeah.
As of right now, the rules are the rules. And even MLB tried to counteract the sign stealing by putting a delay on all their feeds. So that MLB knows sign stealing the way they did it was wrong.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's hard to say which one's worse.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking after seeing all the damage that their sign stealing did to so many different players.
Yeah.
I think Trevor Bauer said it once too about, well, if you look at guys that are free agents, a free agent coming off of the Astros winning the World Series probably has better stats and he has a World Series ring to help him get a next big contract. Yeah. Versus another guy that played fairly, has mediocre numbers, who's gonna get the big free agent contract.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's something that just, it doesn't only help that individual player, it hurts so many others.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, so we can dive into a couple of these other ones. I mean,
Yeah.
um, we've talked about the steroids. We already had an episode on that, but going into like corked bats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we know two guys for sure that did it: Sammy Sosa, Albert Bell.
Mm-hmm.
They actually got caught, broke their bats, whatever, and got caught.
Two of the
Um,
more popular occurrences, yeah.
yeah. What are your thoughts on the cork bat?
The cork Batman, I've heard so many guys talk about it. I wasn't a big hitter, so I never really experienced one.
Yeah,
But
I
like
never.
back for us growing up with the metal bats, we had guys that would pop the caps off and put like bouncy balls in there. Was
Yeah.
like their version of corking a bat.
Yep.
And I hit with one of those once, and with a regular Besser, and it didn't feel that different. I think it was more like a placebo thing. And so with the cork bat, I get it. It might feel a little bit lighter, a little bit
Yeah.
more hug, a little more pop off of it. And I know a lot of guys will use those. The most common excuse is, oh, it's a batting practice bat. So
Yeah.
I get that. You want to hit batting practice with a cork bat because it makes you feel like you're hitting better. And you get into a game, you real bat, you have your confidence.
Well, it's funny. So thinking about yeah, you think about the cork bat and yeah, lighter comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Lighter bat means faster bat speed. Faster bat speed means farther the ball is going to go. Well, when you think about just like training tools and stuff like that, that are big nowadays, like the velocity bats, the overload underload training.
Yep.
I can see why somebody would cork a bat for, yeah, like you said, batting practice, to do underload overload training, but be able to still have their model. So that way it feels the same in their hand versus going to something else. It's the exact same model as they have. It's just drilled out cork in it and yeah, lighter. I'm not buying the excuse that, oh, it was my batting practice bat, I forgot. Like that bat should be nowhere near your game bats.
It shouldn't be out once batting practice is over. Put it away.
Absolutely. So that excuse of oh, I didn't know, I mistakenly used that, like I'm not buying it.
Yeah. On top of, like we said, it's lighter. As soon as you pick it up, you're gonna know, hey, this is the lighter one.
I mean, you should know on the on deck circle for sure. I mean, swinging it. So
yeah.
The cork bats, that's one of them that, I mean, Sammy Sosa being one of my favorite players. I remember when that happened, and I don't know, he was my favorite player, so I overlooked it, and I was young. But yeah, thinking about it now, it's like, which one's worse, sign stealing or the corked bat? For that one, I would definitely go the sign stealing for sure.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. But since we're both pitchers, let's talk about foreign substances.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about it? What do you think about foreign substances? Have you ever? I think we talked about it in a previous episode briefly about testing out some stuff. Is there anything that you've ever tested out or?
Yeah, because I played quite a few rainy games, and I had like a rosin bag. At a certain point, the rosin bag just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And so I had heard someone say once that like orange juice and sunscreen mixes really well, makes a nice sticky kind of clear substance on you.
Yeah.
So I tried that once, and that works really well.
Yeah.
But I didn't use it after that day because I was like, it felt a little wrong.
Yeah.
And if rosin's legal, I should just use the rosin. So yeah, I've definitely seen that it definitely helps to have some kind of foreign substance. I just was like, I didn't want to cheat that way. I wanted to beat guys head to head, knowing that I'm better than you.
Yeah.
I
never used anything. I mean, I remember who was it? Who got caught? When I was in high school. So one of the guys got caught. I don't remember who it was, with pine tar on the glove.
Mm.
And so my brother and I just being, oh, why not? Like, they're not going to catch us in high school. Let's go ahead and do this. I rarely pitched in high school. I don't even remember using it. I just remember having it on my glove. I played outfield, so I would use it in the outfield because it helped me throw the ball a little bit better. But yeah, pine tar helped me control the baseball more. I don't necessarily think it helped with velocity. It definitely didn't help with movement, but it definitely helped with control. That's why for me, just thinking about like the pine tar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's cheating because it helps you be able to locate better. And I mean,
Mhm.
what pitcher doesn't
Yeah,
want that? But
yeah. I feel on that one. I heard Trevor Plouffe talked about that once too, on how the pine tar guys say, "Oh, the pine tar helps me have control because I don't want to hit you." And
yeah,
his response was, "Well, if you can't locate 100, you don't throw 100.
don't throw 100. Yeah,
You throw 94, and that's what you throw."
yeah,
Because the pine tar gets a little more grip, which gets you a little more spin rate, makes that pitch hold a little bit longer, rise a little bit more, curve a little bit tighter.
yeah,
So he's like, command, I see that, but at the same time, if you can't control 100, don't throw 100. If you can't control 95, don't throw 95.
yeah. No,
But
absolutely.
I also see it as if I'm trying to make money and have a career, and I can throw 100, and this will help me control 100. It's real tempting to use that
Yeah,
because 100 miles an hour gets you a contract.
yeah. No, absolutely. I tried Vaseline in a bullpen.
Hmm.
Never did it
How'd
in a
that go?
game, but I mean, it was crazy to see the amount of movement you
Hmm.
can get using Vaseline. I know my college coach, he would talk about, if you're gonna use, he never said don't use this or
Yeah.
that. He said if you're gonna do it, here's how you can hide it.
Hmm.
He would always say hide it in your belt loop so it looks like you're pulling your pants up. You can get some on your thumb
Hmm.
as you pull your pants up. It's on like the inside of your belt loop, and it's
Right.
very hard to be seen. But yeah, I tried Vaseline in a bullpen once. I couldn't even control it.
Hmm.
I couldn't control the movement on it. It was insane. It
Yeah.
was absolutely insane. Um, and then the last one is obviously spit. People used to, which used to be legal. Used to
Yeah.
be
All
legal.
right thing.
Spitballs were illegal. I forget when they decided to make them not legal, um, but yeah, I mean spitballs too. I've done the spit, try to spit on it and see, and it kind of like the Vaseline. Um, couldn't control it. I mean that's an art, man.
There's one that's like a gray area depending on how you use it, who does it. But scuffed baseballs give crazy movement.
Yeah,
And I mean at lower levels, sorry, high schools, some colleges, you're not swapping balls out. You're reusing
yeah,
some of the foul balls you go grab.
yeah,
Some of those balls come back with a scuff. And I had a college coach when I was playing summer ball teach us, hey, if you get a scuffed ball, don't ever throw that scuffed ball away. This
yeah,
is how you use it to get more movement.
yeah,
I was a sinker ball pitcher after my junior year. I wanted that extra couple inches of movement.
yeah,
So whenever I found a scuffed ball, I thanked the baseball gods and used that until it disappeared because
yeah,
I didn't scuff it. A
yeah,
foul ball scuffed it, and I just got to throw it. But there
yeah,
are guys that'll have a little sandpaper and scuff it themselves.
yeah. I was told by a scout. I won't say who it is, but um, you can bend down, like touch the dirt, pick up a little pebble, put the pebble underneath your thumb, put it in between your thumb and the seam, and get some extra run on it. Also, that will scuff up that lace a little bit
Yep.
to be able to give you a little bit of extra run and movement. But yeah, like back to the pine tar, like I had a catcher had pine tar in his catcher's glove
Okay.
because then it wasn't, he just have it in a little area, and then when you get a ball back, you could look at it and go, okay, where's the pine tar?
Yeah. And that way you don't get popped for because you don't have anything.
Because very rare. Has there ever been a catcher in the big leagues that has been like he has pine tar in his glove?
I've never seen it, never heard of it.
Yeah, and that's not to say there isn't, but yeah, I haven't heard of
You
it.
might be exposing some people right now.
Who knows? Maybe yeah, maybe somebody will start looking. But with this, I kind of wanted to look at some of this, the cheating in baseball and the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So, I mean, we've seen guys get punished because of steroids. Cheating, that's cheating. Steroids, you can't do steroids. But there are guys who have done steroids recently who have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, that being Jeff Bagwell and Ivan Rodriguez. Now, those guys, I mean, in my opinion, absolutely deserved it.
Yep.
Steroids or not, like they were good ball players. I think that they helped out that era. but it's I think back to kind of what we were talking about off camera last week about the Hall of Fame was its popularity contest a little bit.
A little bit.
And I mean, guys like Barry Bonds aren't getting in, guys like Roger Clemens aren't getting in, and in my opinion, I mean, just looking baseball numbers wise, they deserve to get in just as much as a guy like Whitey Ford deserved to get in when he openly admitted to cheating and using foreign substances. His combination was baby oil, turpentine, and resin.
It's a good mix.
That was his mix, so he could doctor up the baseballs. And he's in the Hall of Fame. You got. Now I don't know if this is necessarily cheating, but it's illegal. You got cocaine users. You got Tim Raines, who you're going to go ahead and let in to the Hall of Fame, but you're not going to let a guy like Barry Bonds, who, asterisk or not, has the home run record. He's the home run king. Like,
he's the only guy in the 500-500 club. Only guy in the 400-400 club.
And you're not going to let a guy like him into the Hall of Fame because you say he cheated, but yet you got guys like I named who have cheated, and you're going to let them in. There are many known guys who have cheated who have been in the Hall of Fame. So if you want to make it a popularity contest and say things like, well, Barry Bonds isn't a very good guy, then why is Ty Cobb in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
He was known to be
a bad
guy. Like, he was just a bad person. He would beat the crap out of fans just for he beat up he was a racist. He was a known racist. He beat up a black grounds crew guy for reaching out and trying to shake his hand. But he's in the Hall of Fame. So it's like, where are they drawing the line? Because the line is not clear. It's like, they cheated. Okay, well, this guy cheated. He's in. Yeah, but what? Like, what's the reason? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, the way the Hall of Fame works kills us. And we talked about it a little bit last week when we were just like planning out our future videos. They need to have a clear curriculum or clear rubric.
Yeah.
Let's go down the list.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds has won more MVPs than any other player in baseball. Like I said, he's the only guy that has 500 home runs, 500 stolen bases.
Yeah.
He had 8 Gold Gloves. The dude's a Hall of Famer. Roger Clemens, the only pitcher to have 7 Cy Youngs. He's a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
Mark McGwire's not even on the ballot anymore. He was the home run leader. He saved baseball along with those other guys in the 90s. Him and Sosa, their home run race, saved baseball after the strike. Which, the strike, if you want to talk about cheating, the strike happened after the owners got caught trying to steal money from players.
Yeah.
But those owners, it's fine. It was in the past.
Yeah.
The owners tried to steal money from players. I think that's cheating. Stealing money ruins the integrity of the game.
Yep. No, it's crazy. Where's that line drawn? So I in doing some research and stuff like that, I came across this. Actually, I think Bleacher Report said this, talking about like Barry Bonds and the asterisks and him cheating and stuff like that. They said this. They said Babe Ruth played on one of the smallest fields during his home run record seasons. Playing in the smaller ballpark is an advantage over the home run record. If you are going to put an asterisk next to Barry Bonds, put an asterisk next to Babe Ruth, as he had an advantage over the home run record, just like Bonds did with the steroids. I thought that was kind of an interesting take on it. I mean, yeah, you look at the majority of his career at Fenway. He was in Fenway for 6 years. Down the right field line is 302.
Yeah.
Yankee Stadium, the original Yankee Stadium, he was there 14 years, 314 down the line. Now you look at a guy like Bonds. He played at Candlestick Park for 7 and Oracle Park, which was previously AT&T.
Mm-hmm.
It was 328 to right at Candlestick, and it was 365 to right field at AT&T, and then directly down the line. But if you remember how Oracle or AT&T Park is put together. 309 directly down the line, and then it like shoots out.
Yeah.
So like right field, traditional right field is 365.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, he used steroids, but look at the ballpark. Look at his home ballpark when he put up his big giant numbers.
Yeah, the park was not helping him out.
No, it wasn't. So yeah, sure, the steroids did, but I'm sure if Barry Bonds was at Yankee Stadium for his whole career, I mean, where do the numbers look like? Him not using steroids.
Yeah, it would probably be just as good because the dude's one of the best hitters of all time. Steroids or not.
Yeah.
You put him in a smaller ballpark. I mean, people like to say the ball flies in Colorado. Could you imagine him on the Rockies?
I mean, yeah, unbelievable.
Or the Yankees, like you said, their ballpark's pretty home run friendly to lefties.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages. That's why we try not to compare too many guys from back in the day till now. Because we all laugh when we play on the show and video games, the polo grounds back in the day. Yeah. What, like 260 feet down the line and 500 feet to dead center?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's hard to compare because the guys play there. It's a pop up to right field is in the third deck.
Yeah. But that's the hard part because we do compare because people throw out things like Babe Ruth was the greatest baseball player to ever play the game, or, name a guy from the past that they say was the greatest. Mm-hmm. And it's like, was he though?
Yeah.
Maybe he was the greatest at that time, but was he though?
Yeah.
Like, and we don't have radar guns. I'm sure they've looked this up. I mean, this is just me thinking. I'm not 100% positive on this, but were guys throwing the same velocity as they're throwing now?
Yeah, I mean, they used to talk about Walter Johnson was one of the hardest throwers back in the day. I think they had, I mean, no real radar guns. They said he threw mid to upper 90s, but there's no way to check it because he didn't have the technology back then.
Yeah,
and the ball was a little bit different, so it's hard. It's hard to compare the different eras because the game's evolved so much.
It's absolutely evolved, and I mean, with the way that technology has taken over this game and being able to like talk spin rates and figure that stuff out. I mean, you throw a pitch and you go, okay, what was the spin rate on that? How did that thing move on the axis? Blah, 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 all that stuff going deep dive into specific pitches and then being able to go, okay, well, if I do this, then, we'll get this much more vertical break and this much more spin and all that. They didn't have that kind of stuff. They just threw the pitch and said, oh, well, that's what I got. They weren't able to really detail. So it's like, how can you say, oh, this guy was the greatest hitter ever? It's like, he was the greatest hitter at that time.
Right.
That's why I don't know. It's very hard for me to jump on like who's the greatest player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Because how do you say who's the greatest player of all time? You can say greatest player at that time.
Yeah, at that time or of their era.
Yeah, because I mean, with the stuff we have now compared to what they had back then, and the difference in velocity, the difference in bats. I mean, the way the bats were made back then.
Yeah. I
mean, you can make the case that the bats they made back then were worse, so those hitters were better than guys now. So it can go either way, but it's very hard. It's very hard for me to even say greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Just because of that.
Springboarding off of that a little bit, one of the guys in the talks for greatest of all time as a hitter is also one guy I know you're real passionate about being kept out of the Hall of Fame for cheating. Let me hear you talk about Pete Rose a little bit. What are your thoughts on him and his cheating, betting on baseball? What do you think about that?
Look at him as a baseball player. Look at his numbers. Look at how he played the game. There is no freaking reason why that guy is not a Hall of Famer.
I agree.
But as a baseball player, there's no reason why he should not be in the Hall of Fame. This one fires me up. I'm like starting to heat up a little bit.
Pete Rose, the player, Hall of Famer. Pete Rose, the manager, broke this rule. I looked it up. He broke Rule 21D that paraphrased any player, umpire, league club employee, anyone that bets on baseball or bets on a game that they're connected to and have a duty to perform in will be permanently ineligible for
You
future
know
games.
when that rule was in effect? Like,
He got popped for it in 1989 is when he got popped for it, and that rule is older than that.
okay.
So
Yeah.
he got popped for it as a manager betting against other teams and then betting that his team's going to win. He
Yeah.
never bet against his team, saying my team's going to lose. I'm going to
Yeah.
make my team lose on purpose. So he broke that rule. He bet on the game. But Pete Rose, the player, didn't. Pete Rose, the manager, did. And the one that kills me about that is he got banned in 1989. 2015, his ban got upheld. They had a chance to be like, okay, he served his time.
Yeah.
It's time to let him in, forgive. We've had all this steroid stuff come out. He was never part of that.
Yeah.
But in 2015, they're like, no, he's going to stay banned. That was wrong. Unforgivable.
Yeah. I could look it up. Yeah, why is Tim Raines in there for the cocaine use? Why is Jeff Bagwell? Why is Ivan Rodriguez in there for the steroids? Like, why are Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, those guys on the ballot this year? Gary Sheffield. Like, why are those guys? Gary Sheffield came out and said he did steroids.
Yeah.
He said it. So it's like, why is he on the ballot? But then a guy who did nothing during his playing career to deserve not being in the Hall of Fame, being kept out of the Hall of Fame. It's just, yeah, that's a fiery one for me. I mean, even as a manager. So yeah, we say, or it was him betting on his team to win, not to lose. He could have thrown the game like the Black Sox.
1919 White Sox.
Black Sox.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, the 1919 White Sox that were then known as the Black Sox because they, the 8 players threw the game.
Yeah, they threw the World Series. They all got banned.
Yep.
Intentionally throwing the World Series.
Yeah, throwing a World Series. Pete Rose didn't throw anything except for, betting that his team was going to win because he goes, yeah, my team's going to win.
Yeah.
That's just being confident in your team. And I guess if the rule's the rule, then I get it. But then what is the punishment for it? What are the punishment for these rules? And going back to the Astros, what the heck is the punishment?
Yeah, that's the only thing that fires me up, man. Not a single player got punished. 8 players in the 1919 Black Sox get banned for life for throwing the game on purpose.
Yep.
These guys cheated to win the World Series, steal hundreds of thousands of dollars away from other players. They get extensions. They get new contracts.
They don't even get a slap on the wrist. Like nothing happened.
Total immunity. Not even remorse.
Yep.
Bregman and Altuve in their interviews when they're supposed to be apologizing were like laughing and like, oh, it's no big deal. Josh Reddick came out and said before this season, we should have to go out and play and shut everybody up because we're the underdogs this year. You're not an underdog. You're a cheater.
Yeah.
No one's thinking, oh, let's see if these guys do it. It's never saying you guys suck. You cheated. You're bad for the game. You deserve to get punished for it.
Absolutely.
And then we're back on it, so I'm going to talk about one news story that came out with them. When it happened, the scapegoats, Alex Cora and AJ Hinch, both got fired from their teams.
Ooh.
They took a year off. Hinch just got rehired by the Tigers.
Yep.
He got fired, took a year off, immediately got a new contract with the Tigers.
Yep.
Cora got fired by the Red Sox, took a year off, immediately got rehired by the Red Sox last week, 2 weeks ago. They got a 1 year, take a break, and get a job right away as soon as your 1 year's over.
Yeah. But the players who were the ones cheating, yeah, I'm sure Hinch knew about it.
Yeah, 100%.
But the players were the ones doing it.
Mm-hmm. And
nothing happens, but then Pete Rose is going to be kept out of the Hall of Fame. It's like, what are the clear-cut punishments for if you violate this rule, whatever it was, 19D or whatever you said it was, this is the punishment.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying is Hinch is a manager that got caught cheating in the World Series.
To win a World
Series.
Series.
That got caught cheating to win a World Series.
Yep.
They both get a year off and get rehired. Pete Rose, manager, says my team's going to win. I'm going to put money on it that my team's going to win. Banned for life.
It doesn't even make sense.
I need to see it, man. Two guys cheat to win a World Series and steal hundreds of thousands of dollars from people, get jobs after a year off. And then Pete Rose, one of the best hitters of all time, can't get in the Hall of Fame, can't get immortalized like he deserves
Absolutely
because he
deserves.
put money on his team winning.
Yeah.
And I get there's people that say, well, he bet on them, which means he's going to leave a guy in a little bit longer. The guy might hurt himself because he throws too many pitches. I don't have any records of guys getting hurt because he's leaving them in too long.
Yeah.
Pete Rose bet that his team's better than every other team. He wants them to win, but he's banned for life. We got other guys that are getting caught doing other things as managers, way worse than betting on their team.
Yeah.
They get a year off and get new contracts. Kills me.
It's unbelievable, man. I mean, circle back to Rogers Hornsby.
Yep.
You've got to cheat. He's cheated, or he's watched someone on his team cheat in practically every game. I mean, he batted over 400 three times in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to keep a guy like that out of the Hall of Fame?
No. I mean, you think any of these Astro players are going to make it to the Hall of Fame now?
Well, it depends on how the rest of their career goes. Those guys are young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those guys are young. I mean, Altuve is what? 28?
I think he's 30.
Is he 30? I know Correa and Springer, those guys are young. Bregman's young. Like, those guys got a lot of career left. Like, they got to put up some good numbers to.
Yeah. This is a question I was thinking about before we started, though. If their careers play out just how they've been, Aaron Judge's career plays out like it's been, it comes between Altuve and Judge. You got to pick one to go into the Hall of Fame. Who gets in? Based on what they have, Altuve has an MVP and a World Series ring.
Yeah.
Judge got beat by Altuve. He didn't get the World Series ring or the MVP.
Yeah.
Altuve's, if it's 1v1, if their careers go how they've been going, Altuve's keeping Judge out of the Hall of Fame because he cheated.
Yep. Unless Judge wins himself a World Series, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely. I don't know, man. It's a hot button topic, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's the one that kills me as a player. Is have some respect for your other players, man.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do PEDs because you want to hit home runs or whatever, yeah, you're hurting someone else because you're gonna have more home runs than them. But as a team, you just said our careers, our wins matter more than everyone else. And you ruined some guys' careers. You stole money from so many people by cheating. You don't care about other players. You just care about yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes me more mad than anything else, is the blatant disregard for other baseball players by doing what they did.
Yeah. Absolutely. Man, good topic.
Yeah.
Good episode. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, on all these different ways that you can and have people or players have done in the past to cheat in baseball. Let us know what your favorite is, or the one that gets you the most hot, the one that gets you a little bit angry to think about. Love to hear your guys' thoughts.
Let us know if you think any of these things shouldn't be cheating and you think, it should just be part of the game now. Let us know. Let us know what you think. Let us know what other episodes you might want us to do.
Yes. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment below, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on those bell notifications, ding, 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 to let you know every single time we drop a new video. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Have a good day, everybody. Thanks for watching.